evacuating American citizens with no regard for their own safety. And then this, an act of utter despair. 20 people, maybe more, somehow believing that they can survive, crouched above the wheel as the plane takes off. But in terribly distressing pictures, several fell from the sky.
1,800 have already been brought to Australia, 430 just since April of this year, and more will come. I want you to know that we will continue to do everything we can for those who have stood with us, as we have to this day. But I want to talk openly to veterans that despite our best efforts, I know that support won't reach all that it should. On the ground, events have overtaken many efforts. We wish it were different. Today, we remember that tens of thousands of Australians and their families made extraordinary sacrifices for our mission in Afghanistan. Those who went didn't get to decide where they went or the cause that they're asked to serve. They went because they'd signed on to serve their country. They'd signed on to be the professionals, soldiers, passionate about their country, to serve under their flag and in the name of Australia. Sacrifices that will always be honoured and always remembered. It was a mission that was about stopping a murderous ideology being exported around the world. For 2 decades, that ideology has been contained, as have the mass casualty attacks of those times. A generation of Taliban leadership was wiped out because of that violence, and time will tell if the lesson of that history has been learned.
Hiding under the wing, many didn't even make it that far, shot at by the Taliban as they tried.
Dozens of people so desperate to escape Afghanistan that they cling to a US plane as it moves along the runway. At least 5 have been killed in the chaos at Kabul's airport. Now, this report from our international editor, Lindsay Hilson, contains distressing images.
This is what desperation looks like. Afghans clambering over each other to get a flight to anywhere. Commercial aircraft have stopped landing in Kabul, so everyone knew that this might be their last chance. People climbed the airport walls to try to get in. Most airport security guards had fled, so there was no one to keep order. US troops on the military side of the airfield fired into the air to try to disperse the crowds. And several people were killed in the pandemonium that followed.
You can hear gunshots in the background. The gunshots have been
US military aircraft evacuating American citizens with no regard for their own safety. And then this, an act of utter despair. 20 people, maybe more, somehow believing that they can survive, crouched above the wheel as the plane takes off. But in terribly distressing pictures, several fell from the sky.